Chapter 102. Grace won't be angry when she finds out, right? At the hospital, when Wesley reached the ward door, he found it wide open. Just as he was thinking it might be the Hart family visiting, the next second he saw a young nurse tidying up the hospital bed. There was no sign of Ava in the room. Wesley's heart sank. "Excuse me, where is the lady who was staying here?" When the young nurse saw that devastatingly handsome face, shyness rose in her eyes. It wasn't until Wesley asked again that she stammered, She was discharged." "Discharged?" Wesley asked in disbelief. He'd only been gone less than half an hour. Because he'd smoked, he'd waited for the smell to dissipate before coming back. She hadn't woken up before he left. How could she have been discharged so quickly? The only explanation was, she'd been awake the whole time. Thinking about those words spoken in the hospital room earlier, panic rose in Wesley's chest and then quickly spread through his entire body. His hands hanging at his sides trembled slightly. He found Monica Mann's number and dialed. Monica, who had just brought back a cake from outside, beamed with joy when she saw Wesley's call. "Is Ava home?" Wesley's somewhat anxious voice reached Monica's ears. She asked in confusion, "Did you two have a fight? Ava just likes to throw little tantrums. Don't take it to heart." Ava was in a car accident. She left the hospital right after waking up, so I wanted to ask if she went home. "A car accident?" Monica shot up from the sofa. When the front door opened, Mrs. Lynn came forward to greet them. When she saw the person Adrian was carrying, she froze for a moment. It had been almost a year since Miss Hart had come here. Seeing her so suddenly today gave her a feeling of disorientation. It wasn't until Ava greeted her that Mrs. Lynn smiled and called out, "Miss Hart." Adrian gave Mrs. Lynn instructions about what to prepare for Ava's dinner while carrying her upstairs. "Adrian, I'm sleeping here. Grace won't be angry when she finds out, right?" Ava's voice was sweet and soft, her expression innocent. As she spoke, her lips brushed against Adrian's chin, whether intentionally or not. Adrian just glanced at her coolly without speaking. He bent down and placed her on the bed. Ava's head was still a bit dizzy, so she abandoned the idea of continuing to tease Adrian. Adrian straightened up and was about to leave when Ava clutched the blanket and said softly, "Adrian, are you going to celebrate Grace's birthday with her?" "Tell Grace happy birthday for me." The girl's pure, fair face couldn't hide her disappointment. The man didn't stop but continued walking out. The moment the door closed, Ava's expression changed completely. She looked coldly at the tightly closed bedroom door, the softness gone from her pretty, innocent face. In its place was a cold expression. She closed her eyes, about to take a nap, when her phone on the side rang. Seeing the caller ID, Ava's finger paused slightly. Finally, she hung up and added the number to her block list. After blocking Wesley's number, her mother's call came through. "I'm not coming home for dinner tonight." Today was Grace's birthday. Her mother was calling to tell her to come home for dinner, but she wasn't in the mood to see them right now. However, Monica's words were somewhat unexpected. "You were in a car accident?" She actually heard rare concern in Monica's voice. How bizarre. "How did you find out so quickly this time, Mom?" She was really unlucky today. Just as she was about to pass through the intersection, a car rushed out. Fortunately, she was quick to turn the steering wheel. Her car hit the guardrail. The car behind her wasn't so lucky. It was hit directly by that car. Her daughter's sarcastic tone made Monica frown involuntarily. "Where did you go? Wesley said you were discharged. Send me the address. I'll come pick you up." Ava's voice held confusion. "You're picking me up? Never thought I'd hear those words from you, Mom. How novel." A light laugh spilled from the girl's pale, red lips. She opened her eyes and stared at the ceiling. Her voice was very light, very faint. "Mom, I'm not that little girl who needs you to pick her up from the hospital anymore. You didn't pick me up when I was 5. You didn't pick me up when I was 15. Now I'm 25 and you want to pick me up. A bit late, don't you think, Mom?" Monica's heart tightened. What happened when you were 15? When her daughter was 15, Grace had gotten into some trouble abroad. She'd rushed over in a panic. 3 months later, when she returned home, her daughter had already started high school and had become increasingly cold toward her. She'd always thought it was because of puberty. Not much, just 3 critical condition notices. After saying this, Ava hung up. She casually tossed her phone aside. When she was 15, she'd gotten seriously ill. Before the surgery, she'd called her mother. When she heard the airport announcement for boarding on the phone, she told Monica she was hospitalized. Monica told her not to fake illness to compete with her sister for attention. Then she hung up. When Ava called back, the phone was off. On the other side at the Hart residence, Monica sat on the sofa for a long time, unable to recover. What did she mean by 3 critical condition notices? No one had ever told her. "Mrs. Quinn! Mrs. Quinn!" Monica shouted toward the kitchen. Mrs. Quinn, who was cooking, immediately came out. "Ma'am, what's wrong?" Was Ava sick the summer she was 15? Monica's hand holding the phone trembled unconsciously. Mrs. Quinn was stunned. It had been 10 years. Why would the lady suddenly bring this up? But just thinking about that year made Mrs. Quinn's eyes sting. The young miss kept calling for her mother while unconscious, but they couldn't get through to the lady's phone. When they issued the critical condition notices, if not for the Pierce family's overwhelming influence, the young miss might not have even been able to have surgery because no one could sign the consent forms. She and her husband loved the young miss, but they were just Hart family servants after all, with no blood relation. At most, they could only visit the hospital more often to care for the young miss. After the high school entrance exam, the second miss got very sick. She was hospitalized for 2 months. Mrs. Quinn briefly explained the situation to Monica. Monica collapsed onto the sofa. She'd been abroad for 3 months. During that time, her husband had also been abroad. She'd taken care of Grace while her husband went to work at the branch office. Her husband came home early every day after work. It was the happiest period of her married life. She never imagined her daughter had been on the brink of death in the hospital. "Why didn't you call me?" By the end, Monica's voice had dropped to almost nothing. She'd lost her phone accidentally before going abroad. Though she got a new phone overseas, she'd been using a foreign SIM card.